with that assessment from Alex Thompson, who I understand won an award for writing a story months and perhaps years after the American people already knew that story to be true. Millions of Americans watched our mentally incompetent president struggle with his day-to-day duties of this office. We watched our country be ran into the ground as a result, and nobody in the media wanted to write about that, talk about it. There were many reporters, I will say, right-leaning reporters who did talk about that, who didn't get awards, didn't get coverage. In fact, they were lambasted for their coverage. And I remember being on President Trump's campaign, talking about Joe Biden's clear mental incompetence and being accused by people in this room of manufacturing deep fake videos, trying to persuade the public into not believing what they saw with their own eyes for many years. And I think it's about time the legacy media finally admits that was one of the greatest cover-ups and scandals that ever took place in American history, and certainly it did contribute to the decline in the trust that Americans have for the legacy media.
Hell yeah, by the way. Caroline's absolutely right. I mean, 100% right. But this, again, is the media trying to rewrite history, implying that it's somehow in some way they got it right. Well, we got it right. We just weren't really there at the very beginning of getting it right. Like, we were right, but we probably could have, like, maybe told you a little bit more about it. Are you insane? Like, these people are giving each other awards on this issue. They're telling you that this guy is like, you know, and what he said was really like somehow noble. Alex Thompson, by the way, put it out, okay? And he put out his own video, like basically Narcissism 101. And he put out the video, and this is what he said at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. By the way, listen to the lack of excitement from the crowd as well. Like, the crowd, they weren't excited about this at all. In fact, Mr. Producer, I got 30 seconds, right? All right, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to play it for you when we come back, because this is like the ultimate rewriting of history. It's just amazing. 1-877-381-3811. You want some of your thoughts on X? Follow me on X. I'd love to. I'll put this video up there. I'm going to retweet it so you can actually, like, sit around and, you know, piss off a liberal. At Ben Ferguson Show on X. On Instagram, Ben Ferguson Podcast. And grab my podcast as well, the Ben Ferguson Podcast.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump's first 100 days of his second term have seen an administration moving at breakneck speed to fundamentally alter the federal government. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says it's been historic what the president has accomplished in such a short period of time. U.S. stocks drifted to a mixed, quiet finish ahead of a week with several potential flashpoints that could bring more sharp swings for the financial markets. The S&P 500 rose by 0.1% today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.3%. The NASDAQ Composite slipped by 0.1% of its value. Later this week, though, they'll all be looking for some big earnings reports from some of Wall Street's most influential companies. Those include Amazon, Apple, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft. Reports will also show how the U.S. economy performed during the first 3 months of the year. This is SRN News.
This is Aaron Irving with LPL Financial, member of FINRA and the SIPC, bringing you your closing stock market report for Monday, April the 28th. The S&P 500 closed slightly higher today as Wall Street braced for a packed week of earnings and economic data. Investors are also awaiting any progress on trade deal negotiations. The S&P 500 closed 0.06% higher, posting its fifth straight winning day, while the Nasdaq Composite closed 0.1% lower, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 0.28%. Four of the Magnificent Seven companies, Amazon, Apple, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft, briefly came under pressure during today's session ahead of their quarterly earnings reports. Apple and Meta Platforms ended the session modestly higher, each up around 0.4%, while Microsoft slipped 0.2% and Amazon was down 0.7%. Earnings results have been somewhat strong for the prior quarter, with 73% of companies beating estimates so far, slightly below the 5-year average of 77% according to FactSet data. Still, Wall Street is lowering expectations for the second quarter and the full year as companies come out with uncertain guidance because of the tariff negotiations. This morning, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent offered little clarity on the direction of reaching a possible trade agreement with China, but said that the onus was not on the United States to do so. On the positive side, Bessent said that they were making progress on other trade proposals, suggesting a deal with India could be one of the first